Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum to keep up to date with the community debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join this discussion right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Dion, UK Truth 2222, The Plain Truth, Paul, Oliver, Jose, somebody who's making an absolute shed load of noise, Good Times for All, Flat and Earth, Eben, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Hello.
Hello, what ho?
Hello.
Hello, it was probably me.
How do?
Hello. Good to have you all.
Hemisphere.
So we've got housekeeping to go through. It's been a couple of days. We've not done any. So any signs of Earth curvature? Anybody on the panel? Shout out to Awaken Narrative for the super
None.
chat.
Nope.
Only from NASA.
Shout out to Curvature.
Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No access.
None here.
Any scientific
Twinkle,
evidence
twinkle,
of...
little star. Okay.
So go, Jose, go.
No, I was gonna say twinkle, twinkle, little star. That was another shout out. Go ahead.
I see. Fair enough. Any signs that you can have a gas pressure without a container?
None whatsoever.
Anybody? Somebody said pictures from space earlier, NASA pictures, so... No? Oh, well, that debunks
Yeah.
that one then.
I was saying earlier, I will never bring NASA pictures as for evidence of a gas pressure without a container or rocket videos, rocket shooting up videos. No. Shout out to Mad Mike. He tried.
Very sensible. Any evidence?
Shut up, conspiracy cats.
Yeah, shout out to conspiracy cats. Without the container, there can be no pressure. What about the distance to the sun? Any evidence of that?
None at all. That's funny.
Scientific evidence of gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity, Travis?
Tumbleweed.
Tumbleweeds, indeed. What about a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? Any evidence of that?
Impossible.
Elon Musk says Earth is a ball of lava with a very thin crust.
Elon Musk is a retard.
That's lovely. Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius, last but not least.
Nope.
Gravitus Spiritus.
No R.
The one. Radius, Dominus, Gravitas, Spiritus, Sanctus, Arwin. Go in peace, globeheads, in our you trust. So Cynical Skeptic says, the only thing I'm hanged upon is the southern star rotations. Well, that only works if you assume your outcome, Cynical Skeptic. So the question I'm going to ask, hopefully you'll answer from the chat. Where are the stars? So that's my first question. Let's see if we can get a bit of a chat conversation. Maybe the people on the panel will help you out. So anybody on the panel, where are the stars?
Up in
Anybody?
the sky.
In the sky?
What, and where's that?
Up.
Up? Above us, right?
Above my head. Yep, above my head.
Okay, so if I travel in a conceptually devised by man direction known as south, yeah, following a line of magnetism, if you want to define it in that particular manner, then as I travel in that direction, where are the stars?
Up. Same
Up.
Well,
direction.
this is a
Above the
semantic
horizon.
argument.
Go on, Jose.
This will be a semantic argument that I will not be able to discuss properly because I know my English is I'm gonna get stuck and I'm gonna get stumble in
We're here
words.
for
But
you, Jose.
it's
We're
all
here.
it's all relative from where you're standing from. So it's everything is up relative to your position.
Okay, yeah, but the problem with that statement, Jose, is that if you assert that relatively the stars are antipode to you when you travel in that direction, then it is indeed relative to the ball that you'll presuppose to make that argument in any way sensible. So you have to formulate a logical fallacy. If the Earth is a ball, then, I mean, I'll just say insert bullshit here, basically. Bullshit has been inserted here, therefore the Earth is a ball. And the same would apply to the star rotations. If I travel antipode to myself, then I will observe star rotation antipode on a ball. Well, you've presupposed that when you travelled out towards the horizon on an observably flat plane, that you've actually travelled antipode to yourself. Well, that, like I say, only works if you presuppose that you're on a ball at the beginning of that example.
Yeah, I haven't personally traveled too far down south to be able to experience the change on the rotation of the stars. I can only refer to videos and people doing the observations. But theoretically, as a thought experiment, if I travel myself south, I will start seeing a change. Then I'll see the stars going one side, and then in the far south, I should be experiencing the stars rotating the other side. Either if I turn my head to one side or another, it's going to be two rotation points along the plane or planet or whatever, along Earth. It's going to be two rotation points. Now, if I put myself in a third person point of view, how will this look on a flat Earth? I will be able to throw a diagram and a graphic on how the rotations work and then base it on reality to see if this can be seen from an outside point of view versus when I'm standing on the ground. I don't think it's possible to put this in a flat Earth, any type of flat Earth diagram.
Sorry, you did, other than one word. So you said down south? What do you mean by that, Jose? Down south?
That's a saying, that's a saying. I say down south, I say travel to the south. Travel south. Keep going down below.
No. Jose. South. Anybody on the panel? If I hold a compass, which direction is south pointing?
Opposite of north.
Yeah. And what's that?
Correct.
Is it down? Is it pointing down?
No.
It's not pointing down. So I'm still confused, Jose. You said down south, and then the juxtaposition, even though you used only one word to make your formal logical fallacy work, despite the fact that it was only one word, you then said it wouldn't work if you were on a flat plane. So in other words, you are assuming that south is down, and then saying it can only work that way.
You see, yeah, this is what I got my words scrambled, and I say I misspeak something, and then I get held accountable for that. But when I say I'm going to my sister's house, I say I'm gonna go down to your house. I don't know if it's down, up, left, or right. It's the same. People say that.
Well, I know when I travel to my friend's house that it's not antipode to me, Jose. So, yeah, I do know that when I arrive at my friend's house, yeah, I am 100% certain that from where I'm standing now, he's not antipode to me, opposite, hanging off the bottom of something. He's on the same plane as I am.
I totally agree. But in Puerto Rico, maybe in the United States, I say, I'm going to go down where you at. It's not antipode from us. It's parallel next to us in the next town, in the next neighborhood. But it's the
Parallel.
same. People say down.
I see. Parallel. So what you're describing then is just describing what happens in the sky on a plane then?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I'm
So when you
imagining
said,
in a flat
so when you said,
surface, yeah.
when you said, how does that work on a on a flat plane, you described precisely how it worked on a flat plane.
Exactly, but I haven't seen it illustrated. I have seen it. I have heard the explanation, but I haven't seen it illustrated, and that's a big part of illustrations because people must see things to be able to understand it better.
See what? What needs explaining? What? I'm
This rotation pulse on a plane. Yeah, we must see
what
it.
about them?
I showed this a couple years ago, I think. Year and a half ago. Using a
Yeah,
hemispherical
why is
lens.
people not rolling with it?
Well, I don't care if people run with it or not. You said you wanted to see it. I showed it to you.
The point, Jose,
It's right
is
there on
that
my channel. A lot of people have done it
there's
using
other
a hemispherical
explanations.
lens. I'm not the only one.
There are other explanations. However, the global explanation requires you automatically assume that you're not travelling parallel to your mate's house. Your mate's house is antipode to you. So that's the presupposition used when you guys assert that those lights in the sky somehow prove axial rotation of a sphere Earth, by presupposing you've got axial rotation and a sphere Earth.
I was just thinking of something. I think that's part of this discussion. I think, when you're speaking in the scientific terms, precision is critical. You've got to be clear on your terms, clear on your definition, so we can all be speaking the same terminology. Now, I know I've been saying this repeatedly, but if I'm having a casual conversation with my buddy or my wife, I might use anecdotes or hyperbole or, use the phrase, I'm going down to their house as an expression, but we all understand that. But when it comes to being scientific, you got to be precise in your language.
Sure.
Nathan, can I
So,
add a
Jose,
question?
when you say that, oops. Go ahead, Dion. Go ahead.
Any scientific evidence of God? I'll have
Yeah,
to
haven't
say
you
yes.
seen, haven't you seen those billboards? It shows babies that are being born.
I'll say this as a Christian: there is no scientific evidence for God.
The answer is no. No evidence.
All right, I'll be asking it frequently.
It'll be the same answer. We'll never know.
Yeah, you can't apply the scientific method to God. You can't. It won't work.
So a few days ago, I did I know my channel is not big and not many people watch it, but there was a handful of people, 20, 30 people watching, and I created a little hangout. I got a little laptop computer, so I'm getting comfortable with OBS. And I did an open hangout for flat earthers to bring evidence for flat earth. And I haven't seen this proposed too much because I have seen like this flat earth debate, other platforms asking get the globe to bring evidence or scientific evidence, but I haven't seen many shows proposing, asking flat earthers to bring evidence for flat earth. I know I've seen presentations, but I like open hangouts for people not to recognize or very recognized people to bring some kind of evidence. I will gonna do this a little more often, maybe a few times a week. Provide a platform if anybody wants to present any type of footage, any team related to flat earth. I would like it to be your own content. If it's not, you'll be able to give all the details. I'm not gonna ask you to ask me questions. I don't want to debate. I would like you just to give you the floor. You will make your presentation, present your screen, talk as much as you want, and that's it. That will be all. If another show will be separated, it will be to criticize, maybe invite people to talk about it. But I would like to provide the platform for flat earthers to present some kind of evidence. Nobody showed up in the show I did. It was like a little over an hour. I am Rick came in and he gave it a try. He's a ball earther, but he tried to give a point for flat earth. It was comical. It was funny. And then at the end, I ended up with Timmy Osman and P. Mars in the panel just chatting a little bit. But yeah, I will put the hangout out in the chat. I'm pretty safe that I'm not gonna be porn bomb or attacked, to lose my channel. So yeah, this will be happening in the next few days.
Jose, I think you're turning more and more to the flat Earth.
Oh no, I like to see this, and then I will do another shows inviting Globers to present globe evidence. Same concept. They will make the presentation and boom, period. And to announce that clearly flattered on the some guy, he's always active in chat. I think he's got a channel, he's got a few videos. Clearly flattered will make a presentation, something about laser, something he mentioned me on the chat on the Riley show yesterday. So he's gonna make a presentation. I will get contacting him in the next day or two. So it will be a Flutter presentation from Clearly Fluttered on my channel very soon.
You know, give the
Keep on
audience
going,
the time
Jose,
and
spread
date.
the word.
Do a proper
The
plug,
channel
Jose.
name, my channel name is Jose JG Gonzalez. I am not sure exactly. It might be tomorrow afternoon. I'm not sure yet. I am gonna schedule it maybe 2 or 3 hours ahead of time. So whenever it's gonna happen, I'm gonna try to pop in chats in whatever live shows are, so people can go check it in. If not, it's gonna be recorded in my channel, so the hangout will happen. If I don't got a big audience, after it happens, I will announce that it happened, so people can go and check it out.
The day being Tuesday, what the hell is the date? Is it the 5th? 5th of March.
Yeah, it's most probably it's gonna happen Wednesday the 6th or Thursday the 7th.
Cool. I'll tune in, see what you've got going.
Count me, Jose.
Say again, Dion.
Can you post your channel link
Jose.
in the Hangout or something? Sometimes the name that I see isn't the name of the YouTube channel.
All he has to do is just put a comment in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, you type in maybe Jose Flattered or Jose JG, and it will show up. I think the easiest way, you put Jose Flattered,
Yeah, I see
and
it.
it shows
Jose
up.
JG. Okay.
Jose Flatter sounds so good.
All right.
I just dropped something into the Skype chat, and since I can't do it on Hangouts, I also dropped it into the live chat. The arguments for God's existence, they're not scientific; they're philosophical. So if you guys want to look at that, you can. I can read them off briefly if you'd like. I won't go through each one, but if you'd like to hear them.
Yes, please.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, the first argument is called the moral argument. Can we be good without God? Or actually more, I don't like that way they said that, but moral, the basis for morality. And then the Kalam cosmological argument, the contingency argument, the design argument, the ontological argument, argument from miracles, and there's more. I think there's even more than that. I just found this on a creation.com website, but I think there's even more than that. If I find something more comprehensive, I'll post it.
There's one that you need to consider. It's called the transcendental argument for the existence of God. It's argued by Greg Bonson back in the mid-90s. He debated Gordon Stein, and he argued the transcendental argument, TAG.
Cool.
Not recently, but earlier I asked for scientific evidence of God. Do you think we can ask another question? For example, maybe scientific evidence of creation. It will be more sound, the question.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
The answer is no.
Right, have at it.
Why no?
I knew that was coming.
You just don't need it.
Have you guys seen the latest news about the Earth's core? A new study suggests that it may have hardened just in time to save the planet's magnetic field. So it's they're saying that the inner core of the planet Earth was once molten, but it's solidified within the past 565 million years.
Oh, quite recent then.
Yeah.
That bullshit.
It's a lovely story.
But why no to my question? Why don't we need it? The scientific evidence for creation.
As I said before, it's a valid inquiry.
I mean, first of all, here let me explain maybe why you can't use the scientific evidence for God. For one,
No, not for God, for the method of creation.
Well, now that's a different way of looking at it. I mean, actually, you would be arguing from the design argument, which could be a valid argument. But if you can't apply, but I guess if you say scientific, you can't apply it to God. You can't apply that. Everything we've been talking about for 3 years or however long it's been going on, you can't apply that argument. Now, you can apply different arguments. Like you can apply like a forensic examination is inferring from the best explanation. Like why does you said dead body on the floor. You can infer accident or you can infer an intentional cause that body's laying there, but you got to go through the different steps to eliminate the possibilities. That's not necessarily scientific. That's just inferring from the best explanation. And I think God can only be done in that frame. You can't be done any other way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. But then, for example, if I take a female egg, like they do in the in vitro procedure where they impregnate women, and let's say I have sperm and a female egg, and then I form a hypothesis that that male sperm won't start the separation of cells in the female egg if it doesn't have a electrical charge. So I can try dead sperm, live sperm, then incapacitated sperm. There's those that don't have heads or they have short tails and stuff like that. And you can vary it in many ways, and then you can vary it with cold and heat, with at conditions that are not the same as in the mother's womb or in women's natural environment where they have the egg. So
how would that be scientific?
Well, if it works with live sperm, you know that it has a positive or a negative charge. It has an electrical charge. If it's dead, it doesn't have an electrical charge. So when you do it, you can then, that when they impregnate the female egg, they actually can freeze it to a very low temperature. So they actually stop the process, and then when they heat it up, it restarts again.
I hate to say it, but everything you're saying is observation. But that still doesn't. Now I can infer maybe how that process can occur, what's causing that process.
Well, you vary it by inserting dead or alive sperm. That's your independent variable.
That's going to leave you with circular reasoning, though, isn't it? Life causes life.
Well, if we take a look at the electrical properties of the female egg and the sperm.
What's that? Somebody was speaking. Nathan, did you say something?
No, not at all. I mean, Nick in the chat's actually summarised it as well as I can, which is, but if life, then life, right?
Yeah, but you got to have the starting point, and why do you have something rather than nothing? I mean but even this starting point has to have there has to be a starting point. You can't have it's the chicken and the egg argument. If you're a creationist, which means there's a designer, that means the chicken came first, but the chicken was fully formed and then started to lay the eggs. but there can't be a endless backward cycle. There has to be something that initiated the process, and that's my argument.
To Colin Turner for the super chat. Really appreciate his support. It says, any comment on the disappearance of the Globebusters video of Sunday's show? I don't know, really. Anyone on the panel got any comment on that?
Usually take down your own video if you don't want to show something.
Say that again, Eben.
Or usually you want to take down a video if you don't want people to see something.
I wouldn't know. I don't take videos down. So, quite the contrary.
Neither do I.
Did they take it down, or was it somebody else? Maybe they got spammed or blocked or copyrighted. Who knows what might have happened?
Yeah, it seems unlikely.
They don't have to take it down. They could just set it to private, and then no one can access it. Most of the time, it's unlisted.
I just pulled it up. It's there. I mean, I don't know what you're saying because I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the March 3rd Globebusters.
Huh. I'll take a look because I tried it last night and I couldn't get to it.
Well, maybe there was something in it that had copywritten material and they had to edit it out or something of that nature. So clearly, people occasionally take videos, make them private so they can hack something out. Like I say, I've done that before. If I've had pornography played, I can take it down and cut it out and put it back up again. But there might just be a copyright issue or something of that nature. I don't know. You'd have to ask Globebusters.
Oh, okay, I see it up.
Does anybody know if you get porn bombed, you can put a claim and have your channel back before 3 months?
Yes, that changed a couple of weeks ago. So I think it was February 25th, I think. The YouTube rules changed. So previously, if you got a community guideline strike, what would happen is you would immediately lose all privilege to live stream. And now the rules have changed such that if you break the community guidelines for whatever reason, not just having pornography or sexual content played, but for any reason, then they will immediately give you a warning, which doesn't actually affect you in the same way as the copyright structure formally did. So you can also appeal that in the same way as you could if you had your first strike. But that will last, I think it's 2 weeks. If you infringed on community guidelines within that period, then you get your first strike. And then it's the same as it was before, 3 strikes, and they'll remove your channel. I think the only difference being it's 2 weeks instead of 3 months.
Good.
So I understand that creation in life as we know it requires a beginning, but it doesn't have to necessarily apply to everything. We don't know what the sun is and if it's been here forever. We don't know if the earth has been here forever.
Yeah, it comes back to the history question. We don't know what parts of our history are true. Just about us.
Yeah.
We haven't even reported our own history of man correctly. So as for the rest of it, you can't trust any of it, basically.
Well, as we're back on the God and creation topic, can you guys try and later on think of any sort of experimental way of working with a female egg and male sperm that can actually be qualified as a experiment with a hypothesis and be used in some manner, even though if it's observing of imploding geometrical pattern, let's say the effect of which is
to prove creation?
Yeah.
You can't do that. Can't prove that.
The only way I think it would even potentially be proven, in my thinking, you're manipulating something outside. If you look at it from the sperm and the egg perspective at their lowest level, you're, in a sense, you're kind of in a way, not necessarily, I'm not saying you're God, but in a way you're playing God. You can manipulate what's going on, and your manipulating of that and their environment and changing something is in a conscious intention, you know, and you're changing something which imposes a conscious intention. Does that make, do you understand what I'm driving at?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But from their perspective, they couldn't infer the intention or why that's happening. Or they might even not even understand why that's happening or how it's happening. So I don't think there's any way. I mean, I think Christians and philosophical, people that have been thinking on this line has been thinking about it for a long time. And the most thing I've heard across the board is that nothing can be proven. God cannot be proven scientifically because he falls outside. Well, for one, if you can't use time and space and matter to prove God's existence because he exists outside of time and space because he can't be the same thing. He can't be the same thing that which the universe is made.
And your evidence of that is?
On my presentation today, I just claimed the opposite, that God exists just inside. Like the center of every motion is actually where stillness is. So this is what the idea actually of God in my presentation was. And that's why I wanted to present and ask the question, because Walter Russell says that actually God is very easily provable in laboratory means.
So I'll do a little plug at that point. So if you want to know exactly what's being talked about after this live show ends, so this is for at least the people obviously watching live on Nathan Oakley 1980, going to end at about 4 o'clock or just after, and the pre-show for debate 472 will go out on Nathan Oakley channel immediately after this live stream finishes. So if you want to check out the beginning part of that presentation, just go and check out Nathan Oakley channel after this live stream ends, and that's where you get the pre-show and after show now.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that. Sorry I missed it. I missed the beginning of it, so that's why I haven't been saying much about it. But what I will say as far as proving creation, not being able to prove it scientifically, we are currently in a deception. So the scientific method hasn't been used. So if the scientific method were used, maybe we would be able to prove a creator or not a creator. But first we have to get around the part where we're not on a ball and get everyone on the same page. And then maybe we can move on toward figuring these things out.
Wait, well, let me explain something. Hang on. Let me say something. You're proving if you're to use the scientific method, you're proving the cause of an effect, right? Okay, so that means you have to manipulate the cause, right? Right?
You have to manipulate it?
Or
do you observe it?
No, the scientific method is determining the cause. That's what Nathan's been saying forever, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
How would you manipulate God? How would you manipulate God?
Well, we don't even know what God is, so why would I say how God would be manipulated?
That's where the mistake begins, because God is not a person or a being or something that's unreachable. He's a method of creating stuff out of electrical opposing polar conditions. That's why
even listening to your presentation, I didn't want to interject and even get into that. Remember, I made a determination that the how something works or how you maintain something can be different than how it was created, or even it can even be something different than the creation.
Yeah, but that's
itself.
because I don't cover this part. If you go and listen to the 40-minute video that explains everything in detail, it's very well explained. And this is actually one of the reasons that Walter Russell is saying that God can be proven in laboratory means. It's because of this, because every idea is actually inside the creator's imagination, so it never leaves. Like our ideas, they never leave our head.
You're imposing something that you don't know for sure. That's everything you just said is a speculation, even from Walter Russell.
Everything
of
is.
course
Even
I know
my,
that.
I mean, there's a
I'm not
level of
saying
what I'm
I
saying
know
is
it for
speculation.
certain.
So, what's that?
Yeah, that's right. I'm not saying that I know it for certain, but it's just like a starting point. You have to speculate so you can start the thought process and then see what's,
But I
making
mean,
it.
I've already introduced a variable that you can't necessarily, you can't always infer. Like, I can infer creator because I can see everything around me that infers creation. But if the creator is different than the creation, and he operates differently than if the creator operates different than the creation, then you can't look at creation necessarily and infer that's the same thing.
Right, but you're
You can't do that.
but you're already presupposing that the creator operates differently. So what would be your evidence for that?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, wait a minute. Well, I mean, if we live in time and space, then time had a beginning. Okay, then the creator is timeless.
Okay,
which
hold
means
on. I'm
time does
sorry.
not.
Hold on, just real quick. Where's your evidence that time had a beginning?
Because you can't have an infinite regress. How do we get to the present moment?
Okay, I think that you have to first define time. Can we agree on defining what time is?
The way I define time, because I mean, I think time, that's again, people arguing time for a long time, what time is. I think time is basically change. And then we use a clock to measure change. We use the sun to measure change. It goes from dark to light, and I can measure the temperature. There's a change in temperature. There's something that's occurring. And so that's why I think things had to start, there can't be an infinite regress and cause after cause after cause after cause after cause. There has to be an uncaused cause.
No, there doesn't. That's just a parlor trick. That's just a parlor trick.
How's that a parlor trick?
Hold on. Let's go back just real quick. I'm sorry. Let's just go back real quick to the definition of time. Can we? It's a measurement of.
Paul, define time, please. Paul, like definitions. Please define time.
It's a measurement of activity,
change.
Measurement of change. Yeah, but see, that's still ambiguous because. Okay, so basically, the way that I understand what you're saying, let's say change. What was I doing before now? Okay, so that's a measurement of change. That's a measurement of activity. Before I was talking right now, I was talking back then. So that's time, right?
Right. No, I agree with you.
Okay.
No,
so
that's
my
a
question.
past action.
Hold on.
Time is a cycle of generation and regeneration.
Yeah, I think that's too metaphysical. Hold on. Let's just stay with the physicals because before I was speaking just then, I wasn't speaking. So now I'm speaking. So
time is not physical, it's a concept.
Metaphysical.
The concept, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay,
so
growth and decay.
Hold on. Before God spoke to Moses on the mountain, what was he doing? Okay, so there is a before and after with God, is there not?
Well, that's how it's described.
There's a before and after with the Bible, whatever is written on that book that we don't know if happened or not.
Jose, I'm just simply trying to talk to Paul on his level, okay?
I'm talking to you at my level too.
Okay, well, why don't you wait until I'm talking to you, Jose, because I'm talking to Paul.
Jose, I'll pipe down if you do.
All right, are we okay with that? Before God created in the beginning, what was he doing?
In the book, it was written in the book. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jose. Yeah.
Jose,
Paul,
hang on. Go ahead.
Paul,
no, I say, Jose, let us have this conversation. Go ahead.
Okay, so before in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Before that, what was God doing?
He just existed. It was ultimate. He was
time.
Ultimate being.
But that's
no,
time.
Not necessarily. No.
Yeah. Okay.
All of God can exist all at once, have all his thoughts all at once, have all his being all at once.
What's your evidence of that?
Define timeless to me. What does it mean?
I don't have that concept. You're the one making the claim that God is outside of time.
Well, I mean, I don't think God was doing anything before he created.
Oh, no. Huh. Okay.
He can possess all his thoughts all at once.
Yeah, where's
he can
your evidence
possess all his being.
Where's your evidence?
I mean, scientific evidence, I have none. This is a philosophical argument, not a scientific argument.
There you go.
And I'm not.
Well,
I said that right off the bat.
What type of God
I
are
said
you
that right off the bat.
describing?
What?
If you're describing a God as an engineer that goes to work and starts doing something, that what did he did before going to work? If you describe God as an omnipotent power that can produce everything in an instance, then you're asking for a different question.
What do you mean I'm asking for a different question?
I mean that it depends on what do you think of God is. We're saying that God is everything and it can do everything all the time. Like he's present in everything, every single second of it. Controls all.
Yeah.
Hi,
controls
Aaron.
all.
Hold on one second. Hello,
Hey.
Can you mute your
And-
watch page, please? Good to have you.
And I don't think the problem is with what we think God is. I think it's when the beginning was. So if there was a beginning and if there will be an end, because I think everything has always been here.
Yeah,
If you want to define that as God, then you can do that.
So you.
what I described
then you
in
have
my
to,
presentation
then you have
is
to
actually
say,
that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dion.
Sorry, Dion. I didn't mean to speak.
What I did presented in the beginning is that God is actually motion. So motion has a beginning and has an end. Like when you watch a wave occurring in the shoreline, it has a beginning, then it splashes.
Yes.
And
So what created the motion? What created the motion?
I'm getting there. So the idea of motion and explaining God in a scientific way is that motion is created by two opposing condition pressures, which are solely electric. So nothing else but electricity.
You can just go through that infinite regress of what created that and then the thing before it and never get to today.
That's my argument. That's the problem.
Ask yourself
you can't have an infinite regress.
Your own thoughts.
But an infinite regress in the context that you're talking about, Paul, is that you think when I say everything has always been here as far as Earth, you literally mean everything. And I don't mean everything. On a local level, clearly everybody's dying, but as far as the sun, we don't know if the sun has been here forever. Your example is a bus. There's a bus and somebody gets in and doesn't have $1 to get in, and then they give the dollar to the person behind them, and then is that right or not? Give me your example of an infinite regress. Go ahead. Give me your example.
I just said that I mean, I've been trying to say it. I can't. What's his name was saying a minute ago. You know, you can talk and not talk. Right? I for a while I was just listening. Okay, and I'm trying to explain this. I actually just listened to something about this the other day.
Well, use the bus analogy. Isn't that the one you used before?
I don't think I used the bus analogy. It wasn't
like somebody gets into a bus and they have $1 and they have to give the $1 to the person behind them so they can get in, and then the next person doesn't have $1. Okay, so then the next person doesn't have okay, that's fine, but it's the same infinite regress. It's the same infinite regress. Unless you have an example. Do you have an example of one?
May I pose a
question? If you'll give me a chance to think about it, I'll try to give you.
Well, you're trying.
I know. I mean, you're. Go ahead.
You're trying to use a plain. You're trying to use the plain truths example, and you don't even know what it is. So why don't you use your own?
I am. I've not used it. I didn't use the dollar example. I just said there can't be an infinite regress.
Yes.
That's what I've been trying to say, but you keep hammering at me. I'm trying to think about it. Just give me a second to think about it. Crap far. Okay. I'm willing to concede points. Give me a break. Okay.
I'm not.
I have a question. So, do you believe in one God or that there are many gods?
I'm not willing to concede points. Somebody asked for scientific evidences for a creator. Hey, Nathan, how's it going, brother?
May I ask a question, please?
No, hold on a second.
Do you believe in one God or many gods?
Hold on a second. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
It's a simple question.
Thank you very much.
Everybody just start laughing, and because there's not going to be any
start
points
laughing
being made.
because you're a fool.
No, I'm getting to
right, let's get some control back. Hold on.
I have
Hold on, everyone's talking at once.
Show's over.
No,
One at a
Who's the
time.
person who
Why do you
asked
guys
for
have to
scientific
hog the entire
evidences for the
conversation?
It's over.
creator?
It's over.
It's not over. You're saying
I
it's
can
over.
answer
It's
the-
not over because I'm still asking a question.
I can
Oh,
answer the
okay.
question.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. If you're asking me personally, I believe there's only one omniscient, omnipresent, all-knowing God, which means there could be. I mean, I can get into the Christian perspective, which we could be here all day, and I don't want to get lost in the weeds. Okay.
No.
So I'm not going to, and I know when to draw the line, but there has to be there has to be one ultimate being, one that's absolute, one that's the highest above all, the one that needs nothing, asks for nothing, wants for nothing, and that's the ultimate being. That to me is God.
Who made him?
Now we can.
So in essence,
that's
the highest of the high, but that doesn't mean he can create lesser, say, sub-level gods that can still create things.
Like I said, I don't want to get lost in the weeds, but that's possible. Let's don't get lost in the weeds.
Okay,
on this.
no,
We're
no,
talking
I
about
know.
God's
So
existence.
I just want to know about your worship level. So are you worshiping the highest of the high, or say this highest of the high created a lesser version of himself, just like he created man, right? He created everything, but these beings created, say, us, and the one that created this being didn't create us. So are you worshiping the creator of all things that pretty much created us? If
I just said that.
wasn't the
I
case,
just said.
or
I just said that. Now we can, if you're going to get into the definition of God Himself, and then you get into specifically, okay. And I'm not wanting to do that right now because I know this is going to create more headaches than it can hurt. We're basically
well,
talking.
let me reduce the headaches.
No, you're going to increase them.
Let me butt in here. Somebody asked the question: are there scientific evidences for a creator? Right? And everyone said no. They got their hands over the eyes, fingers in the ears, la la la. I did a presentation on this very channel not a few months ago. Nathan, can you share my screen, please?
Yeah, no worries.
Let me know when it's up.
What was your independent variable?
Oh, we're going to get to that.
It's on, but
I think a very juicy super chat will make Nathan kick QE off the panel. Thank you.
Right, you're on, John.
Okay, you see you're a part of this video right here, guys. You see this? So what I want you to do is, you see this show more button? You go ahead and click on that. And then when you scroll down here, you're going to see this. Science versus Scientism, Quantum Eraser Live, the creator versus atheism, right? You see this link right here? This has scientific evidences for a creator. Now, let's go over a couple of them. Who's the person who asked this question initially, please, so I can talk to him?
This is me. Look, I just want to know if you want to, if there's different levels of creation. Like even humans, we create different types of software. We create different types of technology. Now, if you exist within one of these little pieces, you worship the creator of you, or the creator
that's not my
of
question.
the creators
Who was the
of whatever it
person
is.
it wasn't you. Who was the person who said, is there any scientific evidence for a creator?
That was Dan.
That was Dan, yeah.
Yeah, is he here?
No, unfortunately, I think he was on Skype and is now not on Skype. I can add him, though.
He's not on Skype, but he's probably listening.
He's probably listening.
Listen, I'm not going to go through this full presentation. Like I said, I already showed you the presentation where it's linked. However, I could go over a couple real quick, and it's based on information. Okay? So can I do this or no?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, scientific evidence for the creator. Bear in mind, these are not belief propositions. They are knowledge claims. Number one, fact. Information, code, software is only ever caused by intelligent agency, without exception. That is, whenever we find information existing and trace it back to its source, it invariably leads to an intelligent agent every single time. My support for this? Library of Congress, all books, all newspapers, all languages, all computer software. The information age. The null hypothesis in support of my position. Nature or natural phenomena causation cannot create algorithmic cybernetic coding and decoding schemes. That's information. If you cry foul and claim there is no information or code in the genetic code, you're screwed. From Hood and Gallus, the digital code of DNA in 2003, DNA has two types of digital information: the genes that encode proteins, which are the molecular machines of life, and the gene regulatory networks that specify the behavior of genes. From the king of information theory, H.P. Yaki, and no, it's not Claude Shannon, The Origin of Life on Earth and Shannon's Theory of Communication. The genetic code performs a mapping between the sequences of the 4 nucleotides in messenger RNA to the sequences of 20 amino acids in a protein. It is highly relevant to the origin of life that the genetic code is constructed to confront and solve the problems of communication and recording by the same principles found both in genetic information system and in modern computer and communication codes. So let's use a hostile witness, see if we can't find some information out here. Richard Dawkins, I don't know of a more hostile witness than that. In The Blind Watchmaker, page 116. There is enough storage capacity in the DNA of a single lily seed or single salamander sperm to store the Encyclopedia Britannica 60 times over. Some species of the unjustly called primitive amoebas have as much information in their DNA as 1,000 Encyclopedia Britannicas. I have roughly 1.8 million more in support. If needed, just hold on. I'm almost there. My position.
You're almost there with what? The same thing you say?
I'm almost
constantly?
There.
Get it, Flanders.
I'm almost there. The null hypothesis, nature or natural phenomena causation, cannot create algorithmic cybernetic coding and decoding schemes. That's DNA transcription and translation. Your position, the opposite position. You have to show this. Alternative hypothesis, nature or natural phenomena causation can create algorithmic cybernetic coding and decoding schemes. So essentially, you must show ink, paper, and glue molecules authoring technical instruction manuals and blueprints. If you miss the analogy, the ink, paper, and glue molecules are equal to ribose, nucleobases, and activated phosphates. Technical instruction manual or blueprints equals DNA. If not, therefore a creator. That's the first proof.
Shout out to Jess for the super chat. Thanks for your support.
And now, I could have ended all this pretty quick with just this one, but I wanted to go with the first one. So let me take a look here.
So humans in nature, we know how everything in nature, humans know how everything 100% work in nature. If there's any kind of networking and communication between plants, water, everything, right? We really don't know. I just wanted to throw this.
Yeah, we do
know. An argument from ignorance fallacy.
There's only 2 choices, please.
There's one thing with creation, with information, is whatever field that you're in with information, there can be errors. That's why we have editors. That's why we have quality engineers.
You can't fall for the information.
Yeah.
Actually,
you can't fall for the information
like
part.
I said,
information is just a concept that we as people created. You cannot take that bait. DNA is just a chemical structure, and it happens in nature. It's not a code.
Great argument.
Information is not a concept.
Is only a code.
It's the inherent structure in all things.
It's not the same as a computer.
Our deduction of information may be an interpretation, but information itself, the structure, is more than just a concept.
Exactly. If you need a syllogism, code contains information such as a book, Morse code, DNA instructions. Information is only created by authors. That's intelligent agents. DNA is a code, therefore DNA has an author.
DNA
is
it's translated into a code. DNA is translated into information that we can understand.
Let's get down to
but initially, it is chemicals that we assign letters or numbers to, so we understand it. But in nature, without this information that we've applied to it. It's just chemicals doing
haven't
what they're
applied
going to
any
do. It's
information
no
to it.
different than
It's not just
viruses or
chemicals.
anything else. It just happens in nature, just like everything on Earth.
Okay.
It's a cyclic
Okay,
thing.
let's
It's a
pound this into the
biogeochemical
incoherent
cycle
oblivion.
that happens with absolutely everything. It has nothing to
Okay,
do with
well, me and you got a
numbers
date, mister.
like computer code.
I'm going to embarrass you on your own because you can't stop talking, right? So let me just I'm going to clobber your position into the incoherent oblivion right now. Quantum mechanics. Let's go through the experiment. Observe a phenomenon. Photons, elementary particles, atoms, molecules exhibit both wave-like and particle behavior. The alternative hypothesis, if the witch path information is known or can be known, we will observe no interference. That is wave function collapse. That's matter existing. The independent variable is known versus unknown past. Dependent variable is matter existing. The null hypothesis, if the witch path information is not known and never can be known, then we will observe interference, no matter. Experiment, which one of the thousands without exception would you like? Quantum eraser with the causally disconnected choice from Zhao Sung Ma. The presence of path information anywhere in the universe is sufficient to prohibit any possibility of interference. It is irrelevant whether a future observer might decide to acquire it. The mere possibility is enough. Therefore, the lack of the witch path information anywhere in the universe is sufficient enough to prohibit any possibility of wave function collapse. That is no matter. From the delayed choice quantum eraser, this will be real quick. The author showed not only that knowledge of the witch path information solely collapses the wave function, but can accurately predict future actions of wave-like and particle behavior after the single photon has registered and before its tornado has arrived. QM phenomena transcend time and space. In conclusion, this experiment unequivocally validates knowing the witch path information alone causes wave function collapse. Decoherence, that's physical interaction with measuring devices, does not cause wave function collapse. And if you can see right here, you can see the two ontological primitives, A and B. Knowledge versus decoherence. This is knowing or intelligence versus material. You see the two ontological primitives, nature, B, versus intelligent agency, God. C, the QM phenomenon transcend time and space. We don't need to get into that. Ergo, our reality, matter, doesn't exist without first a knower or existence of the witch path information. That is, matter is derivative, the consequent. Consciousness, knowledge is primary, the necessary antecedent. I'll stop right there. I don't need to go into non-locality. Thank you.
Well, with that, I will say, unfortunately, a farewell to the live audience. But if you are watching this on Nathan Oakley channel, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible, and of course a massive thank you to all of you in the live audience for tuning in, super chatting, and hopefully sharing this debate. Massive shout out to Retro Bill and Earth is Seriously Flat for hitting the super chat while John was explaining the quantum eraser experiment. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!